My wonderful, wonderful, beautiful people, a pleasant morning to everybody. Now, beauties, today is a day where the human rights group are wearing black, and the police officers are wearing blue. So those who wear black would be in solidarity with the human rights group as it relates to police brutality, and those who are wearing blue are in solidarity with the police officers who are here to say, look, we're about transformation. Yes, we know we have some bad eggs, but the good ones definitely outweigh the bad ones, which I definitely subscribe to. I mean, even though we're all imperfect, even though we all fall short of God's glory, and fall short of, we fall short. We are blemished. We are flawed. The reality is that, for the most part, I think people still would want to know that they are doing good. I know we live in a world where people are like, a generation of vipers. They're evil. But sometimes when you have, for example, if you have a tray of eggs and 2 are rotten, it would seem as if the 10 are rotten and the 2 are good. The pungent smell, the horrid smell, and the look of it as well. So it may come across that way. To be honest, I'm actually happy that I didn't remember, because I don't want us to make it silently politicized. Let me see if I can explain. I am not talking about JLP versus PNP. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm referring to is when they say politics, there it becomes very bureaucratic, where if you're not leaning to one side, you're shafted. You're like a nobody. And that is what I mean when I say politicized. All right, so I'm not talking about JLP versus PNP. It has nothing to do with that in this regard or in this particular post. And additionally, what you don't want is sort of a divide and conquer or segregation. I'm somebody who is very much an advocate for unity and for harmony. Yes, it is not devoid of disunity, and it must be disunity as it relates to, religiosity, as it relates to bureaucracy that is unnecessary, as it relates to injustices, as it relates to inequity, as it relates to inequality where inequality should not be. That is where we must have disunity, permanent enmity. Well, enmity is permanent disunity, or something that is not harmonious. That is where I can accept disunity or disloyalty, as it relates to those sort of regime, outside of that, I believe in where we, as far as it depends on us, we must be at peace with each other. We must build unity. That is how the blessing and the favor comes. So I don't want us to promulgate a message where it says that group and this group. I can understand on both ends, maybe more so on the human rights end, why they feel the need to do this, because the police brutality is real. So for those who are good police officers, I say this to people. For example, if you hear about bad mothers and bad fathers, if you're a good mother, don't take it personal. You're a good mother. And so don't let that singe your esteem or your worth or your value. But the reality is you have bad mothers and you have bad fathers, just as though you have bad children. Similarly, there are police officers who have gone rogue, who have not upheld the mission and the vision of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, which is the mission is to serve, to protect, and to reassure. That's an unfortunate reality. But we live in a broken world, and we have to try and mitigate the uglies, get rid of the hideous, get rid of the malevolence, the wickedness, the evil, for those who may not understand initially. But both groups need to understand the importance of doing right by the Jamaican people, doing right as citizens of this country, because we're all citizens of this country. It is a sad state of affairs that, you have to have these two groups who are saying, join me, please, don't join them, so to speak, because we're marching against this. And the other one says, please, we're this in solidarity of us because we're really here to make a difference. And sometimes police officers, me knock on a little bit. Wanna get trouble unnecessarily, you know. Sometimes when you come in like, you know, when you see dog and you see the ticks, and you care them throw the flea powder, give them the injection, the ticks decide it nah move. And you know, sometimes the people who are law-abiding citizens, we do understand that you have to do your job. A lot of people just assume that it's only criminals you're here to fight. You're here to uphold the laws of the land. So whether it's traffic or this, that, and the third, you're here to uphold it. It's just that you seem to be more, you know, where it really, as it relates to traffic and looking for and ticketing people and spotting this and spotting who don't have on seatbelt, as opposed to really going for the criminal elements. It comes across that way, you know, and I understand that you just have to do it. It's just that sometimes, you know, a little bit annoying. You're like a needle stick, you know, unnecessarily sometimes. You know, you have to understand the mood and of the people and the modus of operandi. You know, sometimes it comes across that way. And sometimes out of frustration of your own personal lives or professional lives, you take that out on the Jamaican people and they're not having it. You know what I mean? You abuse the law sometimes. Sometimes when I see how you stop in the middle of the road, park on the vehicles anywhere, you know, like you feel like you're gods. You are not. God will hold you in contempt and hold you accountable in his court. Because you won't always be police officers and whatever seed you sow, you're heaping them up, you know, because you see when you reap them, you're going to reap them in abundance. You know how many people have regrets today? You know how many people have regrets today, and maybe that is why they don't show the past police officers any mercy. Because they remember how, and sometimes the good end up suffering for the bad. Because they remember how some of you treated them. You see, if you don't know not going to do that, you better leave when you retire, because the people not going to forget, neither will their descendants. And I'm not promulgating a message of retaliation or revenge. I personally believe that in the scripture that says, you know, revenge is mine, which is God's. He will repay. That we must leave vengeance to him alone. But some of the police officers kind of make it difficult. You know what I mean? The stopping in anywhere. Just, you know, stop people and all of that. The bribery and all of these things that don't pay off in the long run. I know that things and times are tough financially. It's not just you feeling it. I'm not curious. A man look good driving a nice. He wants some money too, or she wants some money too. Believe it or not. So every bottom need to sit on its own tub. Don't depend on bribery and harass the people and bother the people and the police brutality, because you know they come from the lower echelon of society. Boof them up on whatever it is. We see it sometimes when it is all called for. And God will hold you guys accountable. Or the laws of the land. You're not above the law. You're here to just enforce it a little bit to a certain extent. The rest is dealt with by the courts, by the judges. You're not judge, juror. Neither are you the executioner. For the human rights, you know, understand that sometimes the job isn't easy, and to deal with Jamaican people it's really not easy. I could not be a police officer. They would have slapped me with this and that if I did me. The way how some people are so rude and discourteous, you know, unnecessarily to the police officers. The way how some of them are. Am I saying that they should be brutalized? No, I would not say that. But I'm saying sometimes you have to ensure that your justice and you seeking law and order must be on fairness, it must be just, it must be right, it must be equitable. It must be fair to the human rights groups. Because although you name human rights, we don't know if, you know, this is what you're really and truly doing. So, you know, but let's hope that both groups, you know, we will come to something amicable, where it is about, you know, just living harmoniously and in unity with the Jamaican people, treating them with honor, treating them with respect, valuing them, you know, hitting out against injustices, unfairness, you know, holding people accountable, but still dealing with it in love. And I've often said that love, the true meaning of love means love, honor, respect, cherish, value. It is not devoid of love. Respect is a component of true love, not just an affectionate feeling. Anyway, guys, Wishing you a fantastic day. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe to TikTok. Give me a lion. Thank you.